But the real reason why he never acknowledges it is because the director isn't letting him. If you had any fucking brains in the writing room, you would definitely have written the line of, like, you would have to justify putting all of them down, but you could also have all of them resurrected by Lazarus Pit, or magic, or time travel, or... Imagine you did kill the Joker, they arrested you and put you on fucking 10 years to 20 years, and a year into you serving that sentence, they resurrect the Joker. Oh, you're such a fucking scumbag, bro. What? How's it going, everybody? My name is still, of course, TheyHateZoar, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of me slowly losing my sanity. We are back with another fantastic video. I know, it's been a while. I know. Leave your comments down below and your disappointment in me that I haven't uploaded in like a month. I'm sorry. I needed a bit of a hiatus after the Legal Evil video. I needed to reevaluate. I needed to reassess. Still working on some things in the background. However, it did give me a boatload of time to put together a bunch of videos and content that I want to make. So we've got the next, few weeks covered actually. So hopefully by then I'll finish up the projects I've been working on in the background. I've been working on one video in particular that's just been taking on like a long time, and it's not going to be like this where we can just sit down and watch one single video and just complain about what this person is talking about. This is easy content. This is light content. The last month has been like me watching a bunch of other videos for this other video, which is actually how I found this video, and some of the other videos as well. Funny enough, I found these videos through my research of that other video, but I'm not including these videos in my other video, so gotta get that content somewhere, you know how it is. But anyways, enough with the super long intros. If you're new to the channel, you should be quickly get used to that because I do that in pretty much every video. But today we are reacting and analyzing and all that good stuff. A video by Anime Fusion and Cartoon Fusion. Red Hood was right about Batman, but nobody listened. Great title. I'll give him that. It's a great title. It's probably gonna be like the only good thing I say about this video. Nothing personal in advance. Trigger warning. It's nothing personal. Do not do bad things. Not bad people. These people just have bad takes. Okay? With that being said and out of the way, let's just get into this.
There's a scene near the end of Batman Under the Red Hood that most people remember as a villain's breakdown. Jason Todd, bloodied, furious, finally unmasked, points a gun at the Joker's head and stares at Batman. And then he says something that wasn't a threat, something that wasn't even really about the Joker. He says, "I thought I'd be the last person you'd ever let him hurt." Watch that scene again, because what most people saw as a broken boy having a meltdown, that was actually the most precise diagnosis anyone has ever delivered about Batman.
It kind of like already coming out with like trying to read deeper into. I get you are trying to read deeper into it, and people should. As much as it sounds like he's going on a bit, I honestly fall on more on the side of he was just throwing a tangent. You can tell by the way he flip-flops in the conversation about, oh, it's not about me, it's about him. But how could you let him do it to me specifically? And, and he goes back and forth on that. And you can kind of really do tell that it has nothing to do with the Joker and has everything to do with the fact that he let the Joker kill him. And that's always kind of been my read on it, was like Jason was just actually trying to cope with the fact that Bruce failed him or whatever, and so he's trying to become a better version of him that would have saved him, I guess, is his point. But I mean, let's see where this guy goes. Apparently he's got a whole other thing going on here that apparently a lot of people missed.
Diagnosis built not from bitterness, but from evidence, from years of watching the system up close, from trusting a man completely and paying the highest price when that trust turned out to be one-directional, and nobody listened. Not the fans, not the critics, not...
What? Trust meant to be one A one what? One directional? What? To think that Bruce didn't trust Jason. What gives... I mean, there are scenes where he's like questioning him because Jason's always been a bit more arrogant and a bit more gun-ho, and he didn't hold back as much as Dick did. And he had that problem from very early on. At first, it was just kind of like chopped up to him still being young and new. But like in later scenes where it's obvious he's much older in his teens, he justifies going harder on them, saying that they deserved it, you know, and there's evidence of that this was kind of always the path Jason walked, and that he did question at times, even before him dying, why don't we go harder on them? Why do we keep them alive type stuff? So this was a kind of like, people misunderstand to begin with that this was ever just like, oh, it was the Lazarus pit, or oh, it was Bruce failing him, or whatever, the third. But the reality is, Jason was kind of always like that. It was just him dying and being resurrected was the ultimate excuse to say, see, you did fail me, and now that I'm back, I'm gonna be better than you ever were. But to think that he brought him in and revealed his secret identity to him and like adopted him, to think that he didn't trust Jason Todd is really a slap in the face to the actual relationship that Bruce and Jason had, and how much Bruce tried and how much Alfred tried and to, you know, speak to Jason and to try to quell that, you know, more vengeful side of him, which reminded Alfred, I'm pretty sure, of a younger Bruce when he first became Batman. He was a lot more ruthless before he took on his first Robin.
Not Bruce Wayne himself. He's the greatest detective in the DC universe. The man who trained under Ra's al Ghul, operated alongside the Justice League, and built contingency plans for every superhuman on the planet just in case. He is discipline made flesh. The living argument that one person, through pure force of will, can refuse to become the thing that destroyed them. That's not mythology. That's what Batman actually is. None of that is being questioned here. But Jason Todd saw something underneath all of it. Something Bruce had been hiding behind the mission, behind the code, behind the cowl for decades. And the terrifying thing isn't that Jason was right. The terrifying thing is that Batman knew he was right. Over the next 10 minutes, you're going to see how every scene Jason Todd...
Technically yes, but also technically no. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like, it depends on the individual we talk about. So, like, the idea that, like, again, does it boil it down to this hero or anti-hero mentality of, do you believe in redemption or do you not believe in redemption? Does it exist or does it not exist? This is, like, a whole identifying quality for, like, whether or not you can be determined to be whether or not you're a hero or anti-hero. Like, where do you draw the line? Does redemption exist? If so, then you'd probably be more on the side of Batman here. Whereas Jason is more of the opposite. If you don't believe in justice or redemption, just kill them all. But again, we'll get into why that is just still a flawed ideology. Even in our real world, it's flawed. The no-kill rule is 100% justified. It's like the easiest thing to justify in both universes, in all honesty.
Todd ever shared with Batman was building toward one verdict, and how Batman, the most brilliant, most disciplined hero in Gotham, proved every single one of Jason's fears correct. Not by failing to be a hero, but by being exactly the kind of hero he chose to be. To understand what Jason Todd saw, you first have to understand what he was before Batman found him. Jason didn't arrive the way Dick Grayson did. Dick came from the circus, from a family, from love, from the kind of grief that breaks people gently. Batman found Dick Grayson and saw a reflection of his own loss, and he gave that boy structure, purpose, a name. Jason Todd came from Crime Alley. His father was muscle for Gotham's underworld. His mother was gone. And when Batman first encountered him, Jason was in the process of stealing the tires off the Batmobile. Not because he was reckless, because he was surviving. Because Gotham had taught him that the only things that were actually yours were the things you were willing to take. That matters, because what what Batman saw in Jason wasn't a mirror of his grief, it was a mirror of his rage. The part of Bruce Wayne that gets locked away every time the cowl goes on. The part that wants to burn the whole city down for what it took from him. And instead of confronting that, Batman recruited it. He trained Jason harder than he trained Dick, pushed him further, let him go to edges that Dick Grayson would have pulled back from. And for a while, that combination worked. Jason was more willing, more instinctive in the field. Batman got a Robin who fought like someone who'd actually grown up in the streets they were protecting. The audience loved that version of Batman. The mentor who took in the damaged kid. The symbol who refused to let another generation of Gotham's forgotten fall through the cracks. But here is what
the irony that you use the literal scene. This scene here is Bruce scolding Jason for going too far in a previous scene, while you literally claim that he didn't do that and pushed him and made him go places that he didn't do with Dick. Did you just watch a completely different fucking movie from the rest of us? What? This is in the same movie. This is in the Red Hood movie. This is the scene from the Red Hood movie where it shows him as a kid fighting crime, and then it's him as a teenager fighting crime, and then he like breaks that guy's collarbone, and this is the scene of him being lectured onto why you went too far breaking that guy's collarbone. Like, and in this scene alone, I could play the fucking scene probably. I'm pretty sure in the clip he fucking says he deserves it. He deserved it. Whatever. I'm sorry I shouldn't have did it, but he deserved it. Like, are we serious here? There's no way you just like completely misrepresented Jason's character altogether. You got everything right except for the eagerness that like Bruce encouraged it. He didn't encourage that shit, and neither did Alfred. Like, and also the fans loved Jason. Last time I checked, they were the ones who voted to kill him to begin with. Who to be fair, they only got, I'm pretty sure it was like a close vote. Like, it was only like a fucking, I don't even remember. I think it was like 50 or 60 people, something like that, voted more to kill Jason than not kill Jason. It was like within 100 votes that like Jason Todd got killed. But still, when half of the people who voted wanted to kill this character, but the other half didn't. There's a whole other video I could make about the psychology behind humanity that thought that that was a cool or edgy or funny thing to fucking do. Like, sure, okay, whatever. This is just getting fucking dark now. What the fuck? A lot of people didn't like that Jason was overeager and was like that. It's part of the reason why so many voted to kill him off. Also, I have my own gripes with the Red Hood fucking movie. It's not that good of a Jason Todd movie. They do him so dirty in this movie, and they just like completely rip out all the context of like the fucking comics, and it's just all about how Bruce is a failure and Bruce's way doesn't actually work. When the reality is, oof, Jason literally gets himself killed on every turn. It's his overeagerness that does it, man. The same very thing that Bruce in this scene is scolding, you can't be so overeager, you can't be so gun-ho, is what literally gets him killed and kidnapped by the Joker to begin with. And to just put that all on Bruce when Bruce was trying so hard to get that out of him, like, you know it's gonna be a great video when you gotta lie about the facts right out the gate, dude. That or just completely get it wrong, and somehow a guy who's fucking making a video about this shit, and I'm assuming you fucking know at least somewhat of what you're doing. How many subscribers does this guy have? Oh, you can't tell because it's a fucking collaboration? Oh, nice. I can't just open a separate tab for this either? Okay, this is toxic, YouTube. What are you fucking doing here? I don't even care anymore. Hey, YouTube. Jeez.
refused to let another generation of Gotham's Forgotten fall through the cracks. But here is what nobody examines. Batman didn't train Jason to survive Gotham. He trained Jason to serve the mission, and those are two completely different things. Dick Grayson was trained with guardrails, structure, discipline, a code that protected him from himself as much as from the city. Jason was trained as a weapon and handed a costume. Batman saw the rage and pointed it outward. He never once dealt with what was underneath it, and a boy that dangerous, carrying that much unprocessed...
Literally, that's the scene where he says, "Oh, I shouldn't have did it." But he deserved it. Well, Bruce is criticizing him for doing what you're saying he is encouraging. What are you talking about, bro? Oh, you're such a fucking scumbag, bro. What? Now it's purposeful. That's not an accident. That's purposeful. You did it twice, back to back. That's purposeful. Either you fucking AI generated this shit and the AI just happened to hate Jason, or fucking hated how people hates Batman, I guess, and loves Jason Todd. I don't know, fucking Jesus. What? You're literally again using a scene where you are using it as a background, where he's literally telling Jason to hold back. As you say, oh, he encouraged it. He wielded his anger and his overeagerness like a weapon and pointed it outwards and never dealt with it. As you show a scene of him literally dealing with it. This is like ultimate rage bait. Well done, my friend. Well done. You got me. You got me. This is rage bait. This is rage bait. 100% rage bait. This is about as much rage bait as Skyline does, unironically. It's all rage bait. Nobody who talks about Vigilante anything knows anything. They just purely rage bait. That's all they can do. And I love it. I encourage it. Keep doing it. I love it. More content for me.
Carrying that much unprocessed grief in a city that eats people for breakfast. That's not mentorship, that's deployment. Jason trusted him anyway. That's the part that makes the whole story hurt. He trusted Batman completely, not naively. Jason Todd was never naive. He trusted him the way someone trusts the only stable thing they've ever had. He followed the code because Batman told him the code was worth following. He held the line because Batman said the line protected people. He believed it, right up until the moment the Joker took that belief away with a crowbar. The Joker beat Jason Todd to death in a warehouse. Not a reality warping supervillain, not an alien, not a force of nature. A man with a crowbar, alone with a teenager, while Batman raced across Gotham and arrived too late. The building exploded. Jason was gone. Now, the film doesn't dwell on the failure itself. Batman failed. That's established in the opening minutes, and
I love how you just completely co-opt this whole movie, just completely co-opt the original ending of Jason Todd, erase how his mom was associated with it whatsoever, and that she was the one who turned him over to the Joker before he ended up backstabbing her and leaving her and Jason in the explosion. There's no scene of Jason's mom in this movie because she's completely removed. All of that context is completely removed. The scene of her saying how Jason almost got him out but couldn't because the doors were chained on the outside is in there, but now you don't have him with his mom, and you had a perfect opportunity to animate him throwing himself in front of the explosion like his mother claimed that he did with her dying breath and called him a hero to the very end and then died, and Bruce goes through the debris, finds Jason, and he's already dead. Like, that is all just completely removed and replaced with Joker just happens to have gotten his hands on him somehow. Don't worry about it. But all you need to know is it's all Bruce's fault. It's all Bruce's fault. It's all Bruce's fault. Don't worry about it.
Moves forward. What the film does
cut out how he probably totally went in blind by himself against Batman's orders and Alfred's advice. Probably everybody, probably Dick's advice too. And probably Oracle's as well. Probably didn't listen to a single person, just ran in blind. Just cut out that context, sure. Go ahead. Go cut that out real quick. Oh, wait, you guys didn't even bother animating it for the movie because you were that lazy with it? Oh, my bad.
dwell on is what Batman did after, because that's where the crack becomes a canyon you can't look away from. Batman put the Joker back in Arkham, the same Arkham that has never, not once, in the history of Gotham, permanently contained him. The same revolving door that Batman, with his detective's mind and his decades of evidence, knows with absolute certainty will open again. The Joker has escaped Arkham so many times, it stopped being news. It's a pattern. It's a system, and Batman knows it's a broken system. He knows it better than anyone. He put him back anyway. And then something happened that nobody predicted. Jason Todd came back.
So just keep those points he just made in your mind, please. The points of, oh, it's a revolving door, it's a broken system, it's never been able to help Joker or anybody else. Literally. But don't worry, we're only going to talk about the Joker today. Right?
As a ghost, not as a hallucination, as the Red Hood, the name the Joker himself used before he fell into a vat of chemicals and became the thing that killed Jason. The symbolism wasn't subtle. Jason came back wearing the Joker's old identity to send one message to Batman. I understand now what this city is. Do you? And the Red Hood's operation wasn't chaos. That's the part the film buries under action sequences. Jason didn't come back to burn Gotham down. He came back with a strategy. He took over the drug trade, not to run it, but to contain it.
I also I still don't understand why. I always thought kind of it was an intimidation tactic that Jason took Joker's name so Joker would know it's a reference to him, maybe. But I honestly still don't know the actual logic for him calling himself the Red Hood, honestly, other than that. Like, I guess there's like a sort of symbolism between him being the ex-Red Hood and then now Joker, and then he killed that guy who was Robin and now he's the Red Hood. I guess that... No, I don't see it. I still don't see it. I think this was just a half slapped together fucking Jason Todd's character, which was brought back because they had nothing better to fucking do in the comics or in the fucking movies type thing, or somebody wanted to make a movie about how Batman's no-kill rule was actually wrong, and this is what they came up with. Oh, let's just bring Jason Todd back to life and have him be mad that he failed because it was always one of Bruce's biggest failures. You know, and failing to be there in time for Jason, but let's play off of that. It's not just that he's in time, it's because he didn't kill the Joker, which is very much not an in-world belief. It's very much an outworld belief that keeps getting projected into so many of DC's media so heavily in more recent examples. The worst example would probably be the live-action Titans show, where they literally have Batman kill the Joker in response to him killing Jason, because like Barbara encouraged him to do so, and then as soon as he did it, the next day she was like, how could he do it? How could he actually do it? I was like, bro, this bitch. I ain't never seen Barbara Gordon deserve to be in a fucking wheelchair before, but that version of her did deserve the wheelchair, okay? Holy fuck. How you gonna encourage somebody to kill somebody and then be shocked when they actually do it, and then act like it was such a heinous thing? Like, this is how, like, backwards some of the writing can be in DC, especially for whether it's live action. Usually it's only the live action, but occasionally the animations do suffer from the same dumbass, wokey, wants to make a point script, I guess. I don't know. But like, the whole no-kill rule is totally justified. Again, in DC's world, Marvel's world, our world, arguably.
Regulate it. Keep the product clean so fewer people died. Keep the violence controlled so fewer civilians got caught in it. He was running a harm reduction operation in a city whose official hero had spent 20 years refusing to reduce the most
Oh, God. So Jason's idea to solve crime, to solve organized crime, is to become organized crime. No unnecessary violence or fighting, because it's going to bring in a lot of heat. Don't lace all of our fucking shit, because our customers won't want to buy from us, or they'll all be dead. Like, this is basic organized crime 101 is Jason's solution. That is not Jason's solution. Jason's solution was to kill all the fucking criminals. Whoever the fuck threw that drug dealing thing into there, I fucking no idea what the fuck you're talking about. It was either you're gonna work for me or die. And what do you think? Do you think when they do drive-bys on each other that they're intentionally hitting bystanders? Like, some people just don't care. Some people go off the deep end. And like, also, you're not stopping the crime that's committed by the drug users. Like, if they rob people or like rob and kill people to get money for the drugs that you're selling them, you're not solving that problem. You're just encouraging it. Like, there's so many flaws in Jason's plan. The fact that anybody actually thinks that Jason came in here cooking, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You're not a cop. You're not a drug dealer. You're not a fucking vigilante. You're a fucking nobody who has no idea what the fuck about what they're talking about, dude. The idea that Jason's ideas did anything but perpetuate the same crime that was already fucking there is laughable. He did nothing but just replace the problem with himself. And that's all he did. And that's why Jason's character inevitably changes and comes back to the life of being a hero, which is arguably the best part of like his story, is that he went hero, anti-hero, and then kind of back to being a hero and part of the Bat family. Jason doesn't even believe these things anymore. This was originally a part of when he first came back, but later in the canon, he definitely does come back around to the, okay, maybe killing all the criminals is a bit psychotic, but, you know, people like the Joker, we can make exceptions, you know? And he usually kills, in some canons, more liberally than others. It just depends on which, canon we're talking about. And this is another problem with the fictional characters. You're taking several, half a dozen different comics or shows that have very little to do with each other and adding all of that in. So when this guy says, oh, he is broken out of Arkham dozens of times, in this canon, it might only have been 4 or 5 times, actually. But over the span of all the canons, yeah, he's probably broken out of Arkham 100 times in all the comics and video games and TV shows, animated movies, live action movies, live action shows. He's probably has broken out of prison about 100 times along all of the canons. But there's versions of the Joker that have probably only broken out a couple times or a few times total. When people again don't take that into account. It's like they just don't understand that side of what parts are connected to what, and is this really all canon? And this is why some people have to argue about what is canon and what's not canon, and most people don't give a fuck. Most mainstream people are not giving a fuck. They don't. They see the base idea, the surface level shit, and that's all they take away from it most of the time. They're not hardcore fans that are gonna dive into the weeds of it all.
Obvious harm of all. When Batman catches up to him, the charge he levels is, you're stealing territory from Black Mask and killing anyone who gets in your way. And Red Hood's answer cuts right through it. I'm cleaning up Gotham more than you ever did.
In what way? In what way? You killed some of the criminals? Good job. You killed the Joker? Good job. What about the other 99% of the criminals? The other 80% of Gotham that's committing crime? And we're just gonna ignore that part? We're just gonna sit here and pretend killing the Joker is gonna solve all the crime in Gotham? Killing Batman is gonna solve all the crime in Gotham? Like there wasn't crime before he was Batman? Really? Really? We really want to go with Oh, I hate people so much. I hate people who only see 1 or 2 Batman movies and then think they can make a fucking opinion about it. I hate it so much.
It's not a villain's...
People need to learn. People need to we do need to bring back bullying, specifically for people like this. At times, like, you just need to stop, bro. You're not cooking. You think you're cooking, you're not cooking. And you're just not. You just need to stop. Please. Please. Oh, God. I need to say my vape again. I needed my vape again. Jesus.
That's a performance review, and Batman never actually refutes it. Let's talk about how the world received Jason Todd, because this is where it gets uncomfortable. When Batman Under the Red Hood came out in 2010, it earned a 100% critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Every review praised its emotional depth, its moral complexity, its voice performances, Jensen Ackles as Jason Todd.
I will say this, Jensen, peak Red Hood. Peak Red Hood. Well done. I will say, he definitely gave it the exact emotion that he needed for, especially the ending scene between the three of them, Joker, Batman, and Red Hood all in the room together. He fucking killed that scene. And don't get me wrong, the acting, everything in this movie is completely good. It's a good movie. It's just, if you're an actual Red Hood fan, you're probably pissed off that they kind of just turned Jason's character into, well, actually, all of this was never a part of my character. It's all your fault, Bruce. And the people who know the original Jason knows that Jason's just throwing another tantrum, but anybody who was introduced through this movie only thinks that he's right, because all they have seen is this version of Batman failing him and not having the context of him finding his mom and her betraying him and her turning him over to the Joker, which is how he gets killed. Like, him running off without Batman several times in that story. He's told, don't go in alone, don't go alone, don't go alone. All 3 times he went alone, and the third and final time was into the warehouse to save his mom, who then turned him over to the Joker and betrayed him. The idea that that Jason is completely wiped clean of all of his terrible fucking decision making from the comics, and that we're just gonna write that out of his fucking character and write a whole new fucking origin for this guy is a big part of the reason why some people didn't like this movie. If you were like an OG Red Hood fan or Robin fan or Jason Todd fan, sorry, like, you probably weren't very happy about this, because it kind of just erases his entire story up to this point, and kind of like they kind of keep some of it, like his overeagerness and his anger. They do have those scenes in there, the flashbacks, but I still think the mom part was the most important aspect that it completely erased from his character. I've yet to see Jason in canon reference his mom about how she betrayed him when he got killed by the Joker. It's always the new version of the Joker kill, which is from this movie. And it's like, it's such a huge character fucking plot point that you could use and milk for so much, fucking make people feel for the character more than they already do. I don't know why they don't milk it. Like, what are you doing? He's got mommy and daddy issues? Sheesh, who can't relate to that? You kidding me? Sheesh. Y'all just be holding back. You're too focused on making it Batman's fault, because, like, we can't bring up the mom because she turned him in. We can't usually bring up Jason's anger because it was him that got him killed. We have to make it so it's Bruce's fault. God, what happened in 2000s that people just started to hate Batman so much, and, like, they needed to, like, destroy his character or prove his character wrong, or the no kill rule wrong. And why is it always Batman? Why is it like, well, I guess they did do that for Superman. Yeah, he did kill Zod in that one movie. Again, justified. I love how they find the one time, like, it's actually justified, and they try to use that as something as, like, see, they're not as heroic as you think it is. And it's like, bro, he had, like, no other choice. He's still a hero. He had literally no other choice. Like, the Two-Face scene with Batman to the Zod scene with Superman, they had no other choice. The only one I wouldn't justify, arguably, was Spider-Man killing that guy in his first movie, the Tobey Maguire movie, spoiler alert. When he kills that guy, that was completely unjustified. That one I will give to the, you know. But then again, he wasn't a superhero when he did that. That was before he was a superhero. And he became a superhero to redeem himself from doing that. So, is it really the same? Let me know in the comments.
Bruce Greenwood as a haunted, layered Batman, John DiMaggio delivering what many consider the most terrifying animated Joker ever committed to screen, and the dominant cultural read, the one that stuck, the one that shaped every YouTube essay and Reddit thread for the next 15 years, was this. Red Hood makes a compelling argument, but he goes too far. Goes too far. That phrase. It got...
He does not make a good argument whatsoever. His argument is, see, I killed people. I was right. But nothing changed. I guess maybe some of the people that those people would have killed don't die now if a new criminal doesn't come along and kill them anyways, maybe? I guess. Or one of the other thousands of criminals in Gotham kills them, I guess. They live another few days until Penguin finds them and puts them down instead of Joker, I guess. I just this idea of killing a few criminals or killing one or two criminals is going to solve the other 99% of criminals that are killing people in Gotham is just, again, all absence of, in my opinion, just any brains.
Repeated so often it became consensus. And once something becomes consensus, people stop interrogating it. They just pass it along. Red Hood makes a compelling argument, but always the retreat back to Batman's nobility. But here's what's actually happening in that sentence. When people say Jason goes too far, they're accepting Batman's framing as the neutral standard. They're saying the correct amount of action against a serial killer who beat a child to death is 0. They're saying the emotional, grief-driven response is Jason's, and the rational, moral response is Batman's. And they've been saying it so consistently that the actual content of Jason's argument gets lost every single time. Nobody voted on Jason Todd's death thinking they were voting on Batman's code, but that
Exactly. Nobody was voting for on this. They made it. The writers decided to do that. We didn't decide that. They just whatever. This whole idea of like people miss the point because of Jason's character because he is the noble one. It's not just that he's noble, it's just that he's wrong, dude. He's just wrong. You have a literal dead man walking, complaining about why he doesn't kill the Joker. Like, we'll get into it. We'll get into the canon of the DC universe and why killing is just not a feasible option always.
Telephone poll in 1988, 5,343 votes to kill him.
Oh, damn. He actually shows the numbers. I forgot this. Damn. It was just on under 100 votes for him to die. Wow.
Versus 5,271 to let him live, was 72 people deciding that the angry Robin was more trouble than he was worth. 72 people who, like Batman, were more comfortable with a tidier story. Jason Todd has been getting voted out of the room since before he died. The fandom decided he was too abrasive, too aggressive, too much. And when he came back with proof that the system failed him, they called him a villain and gave Batman the moral high ground.
He didn't come back with any proof. That was the problem. They completely rewrote his character and wrote half of the mistakes he made that got himself killed. They don't even explain how Joker kidnaps him in the Red Hood movie. He just has him in the scene and starts beating him. They don't show it. They don't do anything with it. They completely cut that context out. Like, and we all know it was his dumbass going in by himself because if he wasn't by himself, Batman would have been there. And Batman wouldn't have let him get captured like that. So it's probably a copy and paste of what he did in the comics and ran off by himself and got himself caught, got himself killed, and came back to blame his mistakes on Bruce. Which is always, even as a kid when I watched this movie originally, that's what I thought he was doing. And that it was kind of fairly evident by how he flip-flopped about how it was about the Joker and the criminals, but actually it's about how you didn't save me and you. It's not about you not saving me. I forgive you for that, but how could you let him do that to me? Like, it's just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth the whole fucking goddamn movie. Like, and it's fairly obvious that he wants it to be, like, he wants to be the rational, professional. It is about the criminals. You do need to do this. But reality is he is being driven by that emotional scar of why did you fail me? Where were you? Like, why I never thought that you'd let Joker do this to me and let him get away with it. Like, it was always about Jason. It was never about whether or not Bruce's code was right or wrong. And even Jason, I don't think he ever admits it in the movie, but it's fairly evident by the way he behaves. And the fact that Jason does eventually change his mind in the canon and join forces with Bruce once again, it kind of shows that we were right about that, and that his character was just having a tantrum in the early days when he came back as the Red Hood, and that he did eventually mellow out a bit more as time went on. Like, he definitely still kills eventually at times, but like he is like nowhere near like as psychotic as he is in this movie.
Sound familiar? Take the most inconvenient person in the room, make them difficult, make them loud, and suddenly everyone's debating their delivery instead of their argument. That's what happened to Jason Todd. That's what's been happening for 40 years. Here's the thing about being right too early, in the wrong room, at the wrong volume. The film is called Batman Under the Red Hood, not Jason Todd the Verdict. Batman's name is in the title. Batman's guilt structures the narrative. Batman's code frames the climax. And because the storytelling is genuinely exceptional, because Brandon Vietti directed it with real emotional intelligence and
none whatsoever, because he completely cut out half of the emotional context of the original story in order to make this story work. You took out a huge fucking point of Jason's character just so you can point the barrel of the gun at Bruce for it being his fault that Jason got himself killed, got himself captured by his own mom because he was emotionally invested and wouldn't listen to Bruce, wouldn't listen to Alfred, wouldn't listen to anybody but himself. You just cut all that out. Now it's all Bruce's fault. You're right. It is all Bruce's fault in your version of the Red Hood. Or Jason Todd. But in the original, it was definitely all on Jason for never taking any of the pieces of advice that Bruce or Alfred or anybody else, even Dick Grayson gave him advice at times to be like, hey man, you need to chill. Like, if you go in too high, you're gonna get yourself hurt or killed, which is 100% foreshadowing for what eventually would happen with Joker. It's just, oh god. As much as it is a good movie because it has great fight scenes and great voice acting, the actual writing for the characters is garbage. And this seems to be a fucking theme that, like, that is always where they struggle, is with the characters. They can have good choreography, they can even have good animation and good CGI, but they always, for some, as like time has gone on, they've dropped the ball more and more when it comes to like actual logical fucking vigilante hero stories. Like, all of absence of, like, nuance of Jason's character is, like, it's shown, but it's never really emphasized. And that's because of that, people like this will come out of it a lot easier. And especially when you take into context of what people do nowadays, where it's just, hey, let's just remove half the context and make it up as we go, which a lot of people will do for media that they don't like. They will actually do this. Is a big part of the reason why I still ended up watching a lot of the shows that people just shit on relentlessly the last few years. Some of which were bad, some of which were actually really good and got needless hate thrown on it. Like, there was nothing wrong with the show, actually. And, like, half the criticisms I heard of some of the shows were completely lies. And it was like, this is a big part of the reason why I don't even watch YouTube reviews anymore. It's like, I don't trust you motherfuckers. I don't trust anybody. I'll make my own opinion. Thank you very much.
Judd Winnick wrote it with real love for these characters, most audiences accepted the frame without questioning it. They watched Jason build a containment system for Gotham's underworld and called it villainy. They watched him give Batman every opportunity to acknowledge what the code had cost, and when Batman refused, they called it nobility.
He kinda does. Also, he does acknowledge that there is a part of him that does want to go down that path, but the real reason why he never acknowledges it is because the director isn't letting him. If you had any fucking brains in the writing room, you would definitely have written the line of, Jason, if I killed him, what's stopping Harley or Ra's al Ghul from throwing him into the same Lazarus pit he threw you in? That would be my first fucking immediate, hey, shouldn't we fucking address this point? Or are we gonna pull a live-action Titan show and rewrite the canon of the Lazarus Pit, where it doesn't make you bloodthirsty but still resurrects you from the dead or some shit? Like, so we can resurrect all of Gotham. Like, are we just gonna rewrite the whole thing again? Who cares? All the people who watch the live action, probably most of the people aren't even gonna be comic fans. They're just gonna be mainstream fans. They're not gonna know. They're not gonna care. They're not gonna question it. Like, this is why this is never addressed in the movies, because the director and probably forbade the fucking writers from including a line that would easily shut down this entire fucking movie in its tracks, which is, Jason, you're alive. What's stopping them from resurrecting the Joker if I do kill him? And that doesn't also fix other serial killers, like Zaz. Like the Riddler, who is also technically a serial killer. Arguably, all of the fucking main villains are serial killers at this point. Like, you would have to justify putting all of them down, but you could also have all of them resurrected by Lazarus Pit, or magic, or time travel, or gods that exist that can resurrect people and bring them back from limbo. Constantine, I'm pretty sure, can resurrect people and bring their souls back from hell. Like, there's like a half a dozen ways to resurrect the Joker if we did kill him. This is why Bruce doesn't bother. This is a big part of the reason why a lot of heroes don't bother. Go ask one of the many heroes who have died and been resurrected why we don't bother killing the criminals. Throwing away our reputations and risking being made out to be the villains and having to be arrested and serve time, you know, and all the reputation that we build up to that point for fucking nothing. Imagine you did kill the Joker, they arrested you and put you on fucking 10 years to 20 years, and a year into you serving that sentence, they resurrect the Joker. Would they then, like, have a retrial, considering that Joker's not dead now, and they let Bruce out because now he's technically not dead? Would they do that? These are the type of questions that nobody ever asks when they debate about the fucking no-kill rule, especially in the DC universe. And before you argue about our world where we don't have any of that, again, I argue, show me a Joker and I'll pull the gun, fucking pull the barrel, fucking Jesus, pull the trigger myself, fucking A. Like, show me an actual Joker in our world, and I'll say, yeah, that's why we have the death penalty. Just make sure you charge him in the state that he has one in. Or if you want one so bad, vote for it. Especially in the United States. You can fucking decide to have a fucking death penalty. Like, but like, overwhelmingly, 99.9% of the time, it's not going to be justified just to kill them on, like, in the moment of that. Like, overwhelmingly. So, like, again, even in our world, the no-kill rule is a fucking no-brainer. Yeah, no shit, we're not gonna fucking go around killing everybody that even if they are guilty of some crime. Does that mean they're automatically warranting a bullet? Like, I wouldn't argue that.
Watched the most honest conversation in the history of the Batman mythos, and then they walked away talking about the fight choreography. Because the film, brilliantly, almost unfairly, keeps putting Jason in positions that make him easy to dismiss. He's holding a gun, he's got a body count, he's in a villain's lair with the Joker tied to a chair. Every visual cue screams antagonist, and the human brain is lazy. Give it enough visual context, and it stops listening to the words. Strip all of that away. Strip away the guns, the warehouse, the Red Hood helmet, the explosions. Just take the argument. Batman's code costs lives. The Joker is the proof. Every person the Joker has killed since being recaptured and released, every single one of them is a direct consequence of a choice Batman made and remade. Not once, not twice, every single time. Jason Todd is
To be fair, I'm gonna be mean. I'm gonna be mean about this, and I hope I fucking shatter and black pill all of you from this world. In all fairness, it is not the fictional character's fault that the writers wrote it this way, or that fans fall in love with a literal fucking villain who they will not let die because they get too much money milking it. They will let Joker bash Jason's skull in 100 times. As long as you sick psychotic fucks keep watching it, they're gonna keep doing it. You want somebody to blame for Jason's death? Blame yourselves. Because they wouldn't be fucking making a movie about it if you didn't watch it. And that's your decision to watch that. Your choice to watch that psychotic shit that leads to the consequences of people milking shit like this. Eventually, for people who, I'm going to do you one better. The guy who got inspired by Joker to shoot up that movie theater, that's on you for encouraging this type of media. You choosing to watch this shit encourages people to be inspired by said shit that they make, therefore you are a fucking part of it. Directly from your own fucking... You see how fucking stupid that is? You see how petty that fucking is? Yeah. We'll address it at the end of the video. Play this shit.
Name, with a face, with enough love for Batman that he came back from the dead to demand an answer. But he's not the only one. He's just the one standing in the room. And Batman knows this. That's what makes his answer so devastating. He doesn't say Jason is wrong. He doesn't defend the body count. He doesn't argue that Arkham works, or that the system is improving, or that there's a better solution he's working toward. He says, if I allow myself to go down into that place, I'll never come back. That's it. That's the whole argument. That's what 15 years of Gotham's victims are worth. Batman's peace of mind. There's one more line that almost nobody quotes.
Again, this is just the writers pulling shit out of their ass. Oh, I don't want to become them. Bruce would 100% be using logic here, not emotional. This is where, like, I know the writers weren't trying to make that, oh, Bruce is rational and Jason is emotional. They were trying to make it that Jason was the rational one and that Bruce was the emotional one. And the writers and director of this movie 100% purposely did that. This was not by mistake. This was by particular meticulous design, removing stuff, removing negative character traits from Jason to begin with, and like adding the fucking blame that like it's all about fucking Bruce's no-kill rule instead of Jason's over-eagerness and unwillingness to listen to criticism. Like, and then they throw that projection onto Bruce that he's not listening about the no-kill rule. And again, it's just, they remove the negative traits from Jason and they just throw it onto Bruce. And it's just a very poor attempt at, like, bat shaming. This is a term that I've come up with the last 5 years, particularly because it's been very prevalent the last 5 or 10 years, but it really started during the 2000s where people started to fuck with Batman's character to poke fun at his no-kill rule or heroes in general, vigilantes is in general. I think is really because it started to encourage real-life superhero shit, and people didn't like that, so they were like, let's actually show the negative side and actually criticize this stuff instead of just upholding it as a purely flawless, which is fine because there are flaws and things that you should address when it comes to these characters that are 100% real. But like it's almost always to self-serve some weird fucking we're actually the villains and like don't care at all. And it's like, when the reality is we end up doing these things because we care too much at times, and like that is just like a huge misrepresentation of like why we do what we do. Like right then and there where he says, oh, it's all about me, it is not all about Bruce and about that. Like it is about the legacy of the Batman and what he stands for. It has always been that. And just because the writers decided to not include that in this particular movie really doesn't mean anything when you have 100 other canon versions of Batman that will say that. It's only the people who have seen very little Batman media and have only seen 1 or 2 movies, like the Red Hood movie and the fucking Dark Knight movie. I know people who've only seen those 2 movies, and they have very similar opinions about Batman because of how bad these movies were when it came to like villainizing vigilantism and villainizing the heroism behind it. Because it's flawed, and it's like, in what context? They never go into like the details of how you can actually fix it. They just give a blank concept of a plan that's not even a plan. Jason's gonna take over crime and not do anything about it. Okay, good. What else? That's not going to solve everybody's problem. That's not going to solve the crime problem. It's not going to solve anything. Jesus.
It's the one that contains everything. Standing in that warehouse, finally unmasked, facing the man he once called father, Jason Todd says this: "Is that what you think this is about? That you let me die? I don't know what clouds your judgment worse, your guilt or your antiquated sense of morality." That word, antiquated. Jason isn't calling Batman evil. He isn't calling him a coward. He's calling him obsolete.
I love how he just completely sidesteps the rest of that sentence where he said, Bruce, I forgive you for not saving me, but why in God's name, why in the hell is he still alive when he pulls out the Joker? Like, and this is when he goes on the rant about, oh, it's not about me, it's about why you didn't kill him for what he did to me, that you failed to save me. Remember that? But it's not about me. But remember how you didn't save me? It's not about me. But it is kind of about me. It's not about me. He's actually just throwing a tantrum. Actually just throwing a tantrum. Actually. And you just, again, this person, he's doing what the fucking directors and writers of the movie is doing and removing the context to sell their own fucking narrative of what they think these characters should be, not what they actually are.
He's saying the code Batman built in the wake of his parents' murder, the one designed to make sure Bruce Wayne never became a killer, has hardened into something that no longer serves justice. It serves Bruce. It protects the identity Bruce constructed to survive the worst night of his life. And every Gotham citizen who dies as a consequence of that protection is paying a price they never agreed to pay. Here's where the verdict...
Oh god, you got me hitting the Joker laugh, bro. Oh no. It's the one bad day. It's happening. I'm kidding. Just... I can't. I can't fathom the life you have to be that jaded. To be this bad faith, or to just be this careless. How do you address the other thousands of superheroes with no kill rules? If it's just a bullshit rule that's made up to protect Batman and his identity and not make him become a murderer, how do you justify Superman not having the same rule? How do you justify Spider-Man having the same rule? How do you justify every Justice League member, every DC hero, every Marvel hero having the same fucking role usually? Like, overwhelmingly. And it usually varies depending on the versions of them. Like, some live action ones, they'll let kill people. But usually, the animated ones, especially for the ones that are more kid-aimed, they almost never let them kill. So it's usually a lot more heavily dependent on whether or not kids are going to be watching it. If it's a lot less likely kids are going to watch it, they'll push the line at times. But then it just ends up they just basically use it as an excuse to basically turn the hero into a villain because it's for adults. And that's basically, or anti-heroes. Like Snyder's version of Batman would definitely be a fucking anti-hero version of Batman, you know? But, you know, that's okay if you want to make different variations of Batman. You just gotta make sure you fucking do it for... It's hard for normal people to just differentiate between the comic versions and the show versions and the video game versions and the live action versions of these characters. Because there's so many different directions that they can go in at times. Gosh, the idea that this movie... it feels like it just was purely made just to shit on Batman. Just to shit on the Batman no kill rule. But there's no real context as to, like, what about all the other superheroes? You were just not going to address them? Okay, cool. Awesome. I'm glad y'all got your checks for this. I hope Jensen got paid well for this. God, it could have been so much better.
lands. Batman's no-kill rule was never really about justice. It was about control. It was the decision of a traumatized child made in the dark that the only way to survive the worst thing that had ever happened was to draw a line and never cross it. And that decision calcified. Grief became code. Code became mission. Mission became more important than the people the mission existed to protect. Jason Todd was the proof. Not because he died.
That is awesome. It depends on the canon, what canon of the versions are we talking about, because that's not necessarily true. Because The Dark Knight, for as much as it is an anti-vigilante movie, accidentally disproves this guy's argument. Because Batman does, if push comes to shove, if a kid's about to get shot, will shove Two-Face off a ledge and let him fall and die. So, like, this idea that the no-kill rule will directly put lives in danger, it's only hypothetically if this happens, but if Batman can directly influence it, he will kill somebody to save a life. And it has been proven before, at least in another version of the character, unless you want to talk about that, but, you know, I doubt they do. So, like, this whole argument he just made is completely pointless. Because he will put the people's lives above the no-kill rule, and so will Superman when he killed Zod in the fucking Man of Steel movie. Like, they will put lives above the no-kill rule. It's just heavily discouraged to kill criminals just for the sake of killing criminals. Like, if there's a choice, we should be able to try to fucking help or redeem them. But if there's literally no other fucking choice, then yeah, everybody's gonna understand that. Hell, the legal system is gonna understand that. They're not even gonna charge you with a crime for that one. Like, yeah, I don't know where people always get this argument from.
Heroes die. Gotham has a long list, but because of why Batman couldn't prevent it. Because Batman had already decided, before Jason ever put on the mask, before he ever ran a rooftop, before he ever bled for this city, that some costs were acceptable. That the Joker remaining alive and mobile and dangerous was an acceptable cost of maintaining the code. That whoever paid that cost next was a variable, not a name. He just never said it out loud.
Never fucking ever. Do you think he's just trying to not... all the fucking context of Gotham, of Batman, of Arkham, of Blackgate, of reopening Arkham and funding Arkham. The Arkham game literally is focused around how, hey, look at all the fucking upgrades we've done to the Arkham Asylum with the money that Wayne Technologies gave us. Now we just let Batman walk criminals right into the ear because he comes here all the time. Like, the idea that they do nothing. The idea that this is just they know it's a broken system and that they plan to have them break out every single time is just one of the most bad faith, evil fucking arguments I've ever fucking heard somebody give of a vigilante hero. We know he's gonna break out. You don't think we'd put up some guardrails to prevent that? Are you serious? Are we playing the game here? Are we playing the game? Are we playing the game here? We can play that game. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, to just leave all that context out is like, it's just purely bad faith. I hate when people do this. It's either they literally know nothing and they're just AI scripting shit, or they're just purposely leaving shit out. And that's the only part I fucking hate about this. God, fucking A.
Said it out loud. And the film still calls him the antagonist. Think about that. Genuinely sit with that. Batman Under the Red Hood has a 100% critical rating. It is praised universally for its emotional intelligence, its moral complexity, its willingness to ask hard questions. And in every single piece of coverage, every review, every retrospective, every video essay, the dominant conclusion is the same. Batman is tragic but noble. Red Hood is right but goes too far. But
literally nobody. I've never heard anybody give that fucking take ever. I've literally never. Do Batman fans think that Jason Todd's right? How stupid are you guys that you have a man who is resurrected from the dead criticizing the no kill rule, and you think this dead man walking, resurrected, is cooking? I don't know why I'm surprised. Most of you give me a headache most of the time. I wouldn't be surprised if most people did come out with that fucking opinion of this movie. That Jason was right. Mainly because it was shown to a bunch of kids who had probably seen very little fucking media of Batman, probably just caught it on the telly, you know how it is. It's just the lack of actual intelligence baffles me. Dude was literally resurrected. Nobody thought to bring that up in the writer's room. Nobody thought about, well, what about Superman's no kill rule? In the writer's room, nobody. These are like the first things I think of in my mind. This is how I know it was just a bad faith made movie. They just wanted to make a movie about how Bruce was the bad guy, actually. And I think if they did have that kind of fucking... If people did come away with that idea, it's only because the directors and writers made it that way. Like... There's no other way of putting it. Jason was not right. The writers tried to make him right, but even in doing so, they didn't do a very good job. But most people probably don't know the canon of all the comics and everything, so they wouldn't know there's half a dozen ways to resurrect the Joker, which have already, some of which have already been used between the comics and movies. Like Gotham killed him and used the Lazarus Pit. Probably the same one they used on Jason. Like, it's... I don't know what else to say. We've already been down this road. This essay video would have cooked 6 months, within 6 months of this movie coming out. 20 years later, yikes, bro. Yikes.
Goes too far by whose standard? By the standard of the man whose code got him killed? By the logic of a system that will have the Joker out of Arkham again by the next storyline? By the end of the film, Batman wins. Jason is alive. The Joker is captured. Gotham exhales. The code survives intact. And the audience goes home satisfied because the structure of the story told them to be satisfied. But somewhere in Gotham, a family just got the worst phone call of their lives because the Joker was released from Arkham and Batman was there when it happened, and he chose to let it happen because crossing that line would cost him something. That man knows this. He has always known this. He will keep knowing it, and he will keep choosing the code. Jason...
Okay. Wild thing to just grab something. I don't know if that's actually canon. Is that like part of the red... No, it isn't. Was that a thing? No, it wasn't. Were there more Red Hood comics after the Red Hood? There was Red Hood. Oh god. Last Days or whatever, First Day, whatever. There's only like 5 Red Hood comics from around this time, and one of them is just a copy-paste of what they did in the movie, basically. And it's literally Under the Red Hood is what it's called. But they do go over all of it. They do add in the context of Jason's, all of, like, they do consider that all Jason's mom and all that is canon. They just didn't address it in this movie whatsoever. So, but I don't remember. I've watched that comic line on Comic Historian a few times. I do not remember a part of that that might just be ripped from another comic. It definitely sounds like something Joker would do. But I'm pretty sure it was not from the Red Hood or Jason Todd's comic lines. And you just pulled up an image of the comics. Yeah, that's definitely the comics. No idea where this image is from. No idea where that comic... I don't think this appears in those comics. I have no idea where this is from. So, again, take what this guy is saying with a grain of salt, please.
And in the room, the Joker laughs. Woohoo! Woohoo! We got ourselves a party! Jason walks in, punching Joker in the chin, knocking him over into the explosives, and he shoves the gun into his face, ignoring what he has done in the past, the friends that he crippled. I thought killing me, I would be the last person that you would ever let him hurt. If it had been you that was left in a bloody mess in that room, I would have done nothing but search the planet for this pathetic pile of evil, this death-worshipping garbage, and I would have sent him off to hell. You don't understand. You've never understood. What? Your moral code? It's too hard to cross that line? I want him dead. Maybe more than anything I've ever wanted before, but if I do, if I allow myself to go down that path, I'll never come back. Why? Why what? Why do all of the Cub Scouts in spandex always say that? If I cross the line, there's no coming back. I'm not talking about killing Cobblepot or Scarecrow. I'm talking about him. Just him. Doing it because he took me away from you. Well, you don't have a choice, Jason tells him, throwing him a gun. You either kill him or I will. And if you want to stop me, you'll have to kill me. Me or him. Decide. Put the gun down, Jason. 1. Don't. 2. No! 3. And in that moment, Batman threw a batarang into Jason's neck. And as the blood spilled onto the ground, Jason hit the dirt. The Joker laughed at it all. After all of that, you found a way to win. And yet, everyone loses. Don't you just love how this is ending? Joker then grabs the gun, shooting the explosives next to him. And the entire building goes up in smoke and fire. You see, fate is a funny thing. It swells up like raging waters that we are forced to travel. It provides no exit, no deviation. It drops us in a bottomless ocean and compels us. We either swim or drown. And sometimes, as we struggle against the tide, a great truth arises.
And there you have it, the conclusion to the origin and Under the Red Hood storyline of...
And he chose to let it happen because crossing that line would cost him something. That man
Chose to let it happen because Cross chose to let it happen. Do you think we'd let Joker slaughter a bus full of kids? Like we just stand there on the sidewalk? Oh, nothing we can do. Sorry. Because that's how you just put it, by the way. And like, nice little fucking logistical trick there, my friend. That you let it happen. Chose to let it happen. Okay.
knows this. He has always known this. He will keep knowing it, and he will keep choosing the code. Jason Todd was right about Batman. Right that the code protects Bruce Wayne more than it protects Gotham. Right that the no-kill rule is a psychological fortress dressed up as a moral one. Right that Batman has always understood the cost and has always paid it in other people's lives. He wasn't right about the solution. He was never going to be. Grief doesn't produce solutions, it produces verdicts. And nobody listened, because listening would mean admitting that the symbol has a flaw built into its foundation, that the most celebrated hero in Gotham built his legacy on a rule that keeps him safe while Gotham bleeds. That's the thing Jason never fully understood about Batman. Bruce Wayne doesn't wear the cowl to protect Gotham. He wears it to protect himself. And the cruelest part of the whole story, it's working perfectly. If you think Red Hood went too far,
whoo, that ending there where it's, whoo, I need to can we replay that one moment? Flaws built into this fucking foundation. Again, not acknowledging any superhero and how they all have the same no-kill rule. To Jason being right.
Rule that keeps him safe while Gotham bleeds. That's
the cowl keeps him safe, not Gotham. Nice, really fucking bad faith argument there when it's reality both, you fucking moron. He wears the fucking cowl to hide his identity to protect the people he cares about, and he becomes Batman to help deal with the fucking massive crime and corruption in Gotham. Which does help, by the way, and even the people of Gotham make the argument that it does help. The only argument is whether or not he goes too far and whether or not that is justified. Whether or not he does help in Gotham is undeniable. The fucking crime rate skyrockets to the fucking ground when Batman becomes a thing. My camera just went like that. Don't worry about it. But it's proven that every time Batman disappears, crime goes up 30% and the whole city's on fire. It has been time and time again proven that Bruce at least has some effect on deterring the crime rate in Gotham. So this idea that he doesn't prevent harm or doesn't save lives, just being the Batman, not even showing up, just the idea of Batman existing puts people on a fucking leash. Ignoring all that context and everything else. But it is what it is. Once again, I'm just confronted by someone who has had to misrepresent what happened in order to like sell this fucking idea. I completely removing parts of fucking Jason's character about how Bruce embraced his fucking anger and fucking threw him to the wolves and encouraged it when he definitely did not. Are you like fucking serious? Like, yeah, he gave him the opportunity to be Robin, but he wasn't letting him go off the leash. Like, he never did that for any of the fucking Jasons. Dick, Jason, Tim, Damien, spoiler, Batgirl, any of the other fucking characters you want to pull up, Duke, he would never let them go that fucking far without mentioning something, without saying something. This is why by the time Damien comes into the picture, we have the saying of justice, not vengeance, because of the lessons that Bruce would learn by trying to fight those same violent impulses in Jason Todd. And he learned better for Damien later down the road because of it. And all that context completely removed, all of that removed. It's just so much you have to remove to make this idea work. And like also leave out the part of where Jason characters goes after this. He literally stops like for a bit. He's still technically an anti-hero and will still kill, but he doesn't go after Batman or try to prove that Batman doesn't work. Like, mainly because he kind of understood at that point he was kind of just fucking pissed off about shit. He was more about him not saving him than it was about the actual criminals. Because Jason learned about a year into killing every criminal he came across, well, there's a lot more criminals to kill than I thought there were, and there was 30 criminals here, I killed all of them. I left for a week, came back, now there's 60 criminals. Huh, weird. Weird how that works, huh? They didn't stop, they just called in backup. Huh. And like after like a year of that, I think he starts to realize whether you lock them up or kill them, there's always going to be another criminal. There's always going to be another serial killer. There's always going to be another bully or asshole. This is why we all have the no kill rule. No matter how many you kill or how many you put down, there's always going to be another. Like there would be no end to that. And it's just as endless of a rabbit hole as locking them up is. Okay? It just is. Like, I just hate this because it feels like Joker trying to justify his own morality, but it's not Joker. It's the fans of the media that you have gained over the years, shrilling for antiheroes, shrilling for villains at times, that they are actually the ones in the right. And that, for me, it's not really that surprising, but I'm shocked that they even allow people to do that. And the only thing that shocks me is that how little shock people have that people will have that opinion. And it really just goes to show how busted up our fucking world is. That like people will agree with other people who have the take that Joker is right or the anti-heroes are right, you know? It doesn't really surprise me because I know there's a lot of people like that in our world, but I'm shocked that other people aren't shocked. That is what I'm shocked about, if that makes any sense at all. But overall, my argument here is Bruce at fault because of the no-kill rule. We can play that game. We can play that game. We can talk about Bruce is at fault for not killing the Joker. The cops are at fault for not killing the Joker. Lawyers, prosecutors, judges, blame the civilians. They didn't kill him. They had an opportunity. You live in America. Second Amendment, baby. Get to it. Criminals also. You gotta blame the criminals who also know that Joker is crazy and could kill them, but don't because they're afraid of him. You gotta put a little bit of blame on them too. I'd argue the most blame will probably go. Maybe it's a 50-50. Maybe I'll do you 50-50. Okay, well, I'll be fair. 50-50 from the creators of the show to the people who consume this media. You also get part of the blame for every life Joker takes, because Joker wouldn't have the opportunity to kill people if you didn't keep watching. And that's your choice to make. Y'all can stay mad on that. And that's just, if you want to blame Bruce, you have to blame all those other people too. Because if you're going to blame one person for the choice he makes by not killing this guy, are we not going to address the other thousands of people who also make that same choice and could easily? Like, no, we're going to address it actually. Why don't we have a vote on whether or not to fully kill off the Joker and never have him in another canon movie or TV show or video game or comic book? It's because DC will never hold that vote. Because he sells too much. Because you eat it up so much. So in my eyes, you're all to fucking blame. More so than Bruce is. But once again, I think this is just a classic fucking misstep. Trying to just judge a forced fictional fucking story with real life morality. This can work sometimes, when it isn't super forced like it is in this movie, but unfortunately, it is just forced. The idea that Jason having to erase parts of his character to make him seem more sympathetic, and now it was more Bruce's fault, not his own arrogance that got him killed, which is what got him killed, to Bruce being a lot more careless, and instead of saying the absolute right things and saying the smart thing, he says, oh, well, it's actually all about me, don't worry about it. And we all know that was just the director and the writers making them say those lines. There was no emotional fucking depth to this whatsoever. This was a film about how can we make Batman the villain? How can we make Batman wrong? And I think that if that's what you wanted out of it, they did a good job out of it. When it comes to mainstream people. Now, if you have any brains whatsoever or actual experience with comic canon, you will just understand this is like a very poor assassination attempt of Bruce's character. I don't know why people always get like a personal vendetta against superheroes where then they get the opportunity to make a superhero movie for them and then they just drive the character into the fucking ground. It's been a lot more prevalent the last 10 years than it was during these years, but I'm 99% sure this is where it all started. It was movies like Jason, the Jason movie, Under the Red Hood. And it's just... now you can see where that all has gone the last 5 to 10 years with things like the Titans show, which rewrote Jason's character again to be a junkie instead of being bloodthirsty from the Lazarus Pit and arrogant in general. He was just a junkie. He just did it because he was hopped up on drugs. Which was even worse, dirtier way to do his character than you did him in this movie. It's just so fucking... It's what happens when you have people who aren't fans of the media write for this media. Like, it's just, they don't care. They don't. And a lot of people are just going to see this one piece of the media and make their deductions off of that because that's how what most people are only capable of. Is what it is. Like, again, the argument with, like, the Joker killing him as Jason is a resurrected individual. Like, Gotham literally did that. They literally killed Joker and brought him back with the Lazarus Pit, just like Jason was. So, like, since this movie has come out, the Gotham TV show did that. So we know this idea is fucking pointless. Like, in the comics, there's, like, how many other ways they've brought back the Joker from the dead? Like... So it is the thing that people still think that Jason cooked in this movie after 20 years of more TV shows and movies giving the examples of how he was wrong in this movie and very much more put together than this movie was. Like, it's just infuriating. But that's enough YouTube slop for me. That's enough anti-vigilante hero fucking propaganda for one day. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of yours, or night, whichever it may be. And as always, until next time.